As a CISO, when I read the report, there's a lot packed in there, and I could talk about different sections. The first one is it's amazing how the speed of bad actors has increased. If you look at what the report says, uh, 10 days for us to detect, 73 to disclosure. That's a huge gap. Essentially, if there's 63 days that our vendor knows that there's a problem and it affects our data, it's our downstream operations, and we haven't been notified, huge gap. So one of the things that my team uses the Black Kite platform is the power of our research group and what we put in the platform called focus tags. That essentially that is our lens into that disclosure gap. That it may not be disclosed yet, but we see that there might be an issue. So that gives us some operational agility. We don't even need for them to disclose. We can actually take internal actions to protect our data and systems. I think it may be an aha moment for many programs is the whole cybersecurity ratings industry. It's been around a long time. A lot of programs are built on that very qualitative view on grades. And, in reality, you look at a grade and you may have a vendor that has an A rating. So if that's your assessment, if that's your profile, that feels great. I mean, we're secure, right? But when you kind of dig into it, if you look at those A-rated vendors, they may have a single critical vulnerability. Some of the larger companies do. It's pointed out in the report. They might have active corporate credentials. Those are single items that bad actors will grasp onto to execute what they're doing. And that A grade makes us feel good. Bruce Schneier calls it security theater. I call it compliance theater. That it's something to make us feel good, but in reality, it doesn't help. And in the report, we talk about concentration's a weapon that's being used today. And again, this is not new. This is not something that we haven't known about. What the report does is it takes real data and it allows those folks that are involved in the industry to see that, yeah, this is something that we just weren't talking about, that we weren't saying. This is the tools, tactics, and procedures of bad actors. And what I mean by concentration being the weapon, if I can breach one company and get that company's information or get that one company to pay ransomware, I've done good. But if I can breach one company and through that company, I can get 50 or 100, even though the ransom amounts are smaller, my profit margins are going to be a lot bigger. So that's what the report shows out, that that is where the bad actors are going. It's coming back in the data. This is the reality. The supply chain is a problem, and we have to focus on that. Well, third-party risk people identify the risk and present it to the business. The business has to make the decision. What do they want to do? Is that risk acceptable for what that vendor brings to the table? If it is, well, you accept the risk. If your spend is big enough to get their attention, maybe you can make some changes. Maybe you can't. It's always worthwhile trying. Maybe you decide that the risk is unacceptable. Let's find another vendor. Let's switch out. That's a challenging thing to do. Anybody that's ever gone from one vendor to a similar vendor and move your processes over, sometimes the pain to make the change is bigger than what the risk is. So these are all things you have to think about. But the bottom line is it has to be a risk-based decision. When you're looking at third-party cyber risk management, I think about a quote from an ancient strategist named Sun Tzu. He said, "The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting." It's great. It's amazing. I think want to modify that a little bit to TPCRM, and that the supreme art of TPCRM is to contain the loss before it occurs. And that's what this information in the report, if you use it successfully, can help you do.